Hi, Lori. Okay. Our agenda for this is to we're going to do this in an hour. It's a 1 hour Zoom call. And thanks for those who showed up at Village Hall, but I'm not even in town right now. The agenda for us is to discuss the final logistics for our town hall on Saturday. Items include poster review, roles and responsibilities of those table representatives, and including materials necessary for the tables, assignments, and public record keeping. And then another item is welcome and orientation comments. What are they and who's going to give that at the end of the resort meeting? What outreach efforts are we going to do this week to make sure we get people there? And the wrap up item is just to review and capture all the action items for to get done this week. Everyone okay with that agenda?
Yes.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay. So first thing on it is the way we work this. In my mind, all along, this has been a civic engagement strategy where we want to have conversations with the participants, and therefore I was pushing for more information on posters rather than minimum information. I think it's if you just see a bunch of big goals where everyone knows we want to fix streets and improve water. It's so what? Let's get into more detail of how do we decide what streets get fixed first and what's the surfacing, and those kind of topics are more in people's minds than, oh yeah, we're going to fix streets. So that's why I went into preparing the posters with a little more what are the issues you're dealing with? Are you only dealing with slash? Are you only dealing with the ordinance for night sky versus education? What is it you're working on? What are those issues that people are concerned about, which leads towards the goals and objectives? I put together a template for this for recreation and trails. Some of the co-chair of that started the ball rolling, and recently, I believe it got turned over to Santos to pick up and get the posters ready for printing. So, do you want to share a couple of examples of what you got, and maybe list out what you've got done, Santos? So we can make sure we got them all, and we know who's going to be tabling those.
Yeah, let me share some of the plans I got from Consensus this morning on Liberty Square that I
Okay.
think are going to dovetail into parks. So let me share screen. Um, can I get permission to share screen?
Um, Liana's not in here right this minute.
Oh,
Let me go get her.
I think I found it.
He needs to share the screen.
I think I found it.
Well, he may have found it. He was gonna,
Great.
Yeah, it's just the green button. He doesn't need my permission to share the screen.
he got it.
I didn't see it. Now I found it.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Maybe
So here's
you should pay your teenager to sit next to you, Santos.
yeah. There's a lot I need to do. Thanks. So this is the first map that's been prepared in conjunction with Liberty Square event uh, conference space. So it's an overall of it's not supposed to have this grid on it. I don't know why that's on,
It may be
but
because it's in print mode or something. It probably won't print.
yeah, but it does give the overview of the site, some of the things that folks would like to program along the trail, log play, hobbit holes, boulder scramble, to connect to the high school and to Allen Fields. And so this is one board that is in this conversation that you guys have been having for a while, parks and also with lodgers tax. Then this is more detailed of the actual development itself. This is different from the one that you see on the board there at Village Hall. 300 parking spaces have been removed. It's still 600. But in essence, that leaves all of this open. where before this was just one real big parking lot, right? That went from the square park all the way up to the property line. I think they've been able to manage just with better geometry of how to make things fit better. And they're taking this view shed corridor from the little patio and concessions area as it goes northeast and programming, bathroom facilities, another pavilion where you could have a beer garden, a scaled down a skate park. You still have play area, and it's separate and away from traffic over here from the event lawn. There's still connections with Frank Young programmed, and the parking is not right on to the edge, so you've got a buffer between it and the Sinagu Creek. Takes into account the fire station, new village hall, the event center, and maybe a new police station here. I believe the conversations with the hospital district is, let's plan Liberty Square without a health clinic. Let's see what else we can program. And that's where we are on this iteration. And then here is just just again, it reflects it, but it shows with the temporary event. Trying to get this all programmed where the buildings could be once they're designed and constructed. The architects designing the event space will be present on Saturday, as well as consensus planning to talk about these connections, or actually to listen. I think they're trying to get feedback to make sure we're all still on the same trail moving forward. I think we are. There's a deed restriction that the village should have a minimum of 450 parking spaces designed. Well, we've got 600, which is 300 less than what was originally proposed a few months ago.
Nice, that's better.
Yeah. And that's not counting.
So let me ask on that.
What's here. Yeah.
Consensus planning and the architectural firm will be present on Saturday for this event. And then we'll also have then a blank poster for large scale sticky notes that people would put up questions, comments, thoughts, ideas.
Yes, we could still do sticky notes.
Okay.
I'm on the board. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right.
And I believe we could do that technically on all the boards.
We need to do it. Every table needs to have a blank board for community comment, whether it's related to issues or objectives or anything related to that topic.
Fair enough.
Okay. Another one.
So I'm going to move over to, let's go to parks. So again, just trying to make sure everything is formatted the same from headings and fonts. So you got your mission statement from Recreation Trails, goals, objectives listed, and they go into page 2. And what I did on page 2, the second board, is rather than just have it with text, trying to provide some context as to just where are the trails, right? What trails are we talking about, and where are they? Because there are some objectives about connections, for example, of Cougar and Bobcat, formalize the connection from Vale Loop to Oesta Vista. So this was my idea of something on board 2.
Okay.
If you think there's something better to do and just leave it in text, just let me know. But
I actually reduced and consolidated and condensed a lot of those objectives, so you don't have the version I submitted to Caroline.
Okay, I was working off of 2 versions, so if you'll send me that one,
yep,
I'll just consolidate and put it into here. Was it still running to 2 boards with yours or no?
It's still going to be 2 boards, yeah.
Would you want me to keep this map of the trails on the board, or do you want to just?
I think if there's printed copies of the maps available, you could just have one of the existing printed ones sitting on a table.
Okay, so take the maps off.
Yeah. So action item, first one we got is I need to send update objectives to you. By when?
I'd like to get these out by Wednesday to get
Okay,
mounted. So
I'll do it tomorrow morning, first thing probably.
that's fine. That's fine. So everyone's got the Angel Fire logo, highlighted committees. Uh, Goals and mission statements are in one color, and then the objectives in another, so they stand out.
So the format I had on there for the objectives was, and the reason I did consolidate was that it'd be easier for people to speak, pick 6 objectives that were most important to them.
Okay.
So are we still going to be doing sticky dot voting on some of these or not?
Yes, and the last one I'd seen is that we leave enough space right in here where people just put notes. There's their dots right below the one that they like, so it runs the whole 54, right? So
Okay.
I just want to make sure I leave enough space between each objective. Just go forward and put your sticky notes, green, blue, red.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
they should just be colored dots for, I think it's really important to extend Frank Young. I think it's really important to um, finish the trail plan. What are the 6 most things? That's going to give our committee some more guidance on what the work plan looks like for the next couple of years.
so they'll be the same color dots. You just get 6, right?
If it's colorful, if you get a bunch, most of those dots come in multi packs of colors.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what color gets on there, but everyone would get 6. And they get to, if they get, for mine, because there's so many, they would get 6 votes, and they could not put them all in the same one.
Fair enough. So the format I've tried to keep looks like this.
Okay.
So this, if second board will have a logo at the top, committee below it, and just more text. The only difference is lodger's tax, and I put the Visit Angel Fire logo on the bottom right with the Village of Angel Fire on the top. So
Okay.
let's go to lodger's tax. So Owen, I took some of these objectives from your template that was submitted in the comprehensive plan template form as well. Am I missing anything?
I don't see Owen on the call list right now.
Yeah, he's there.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just looking through it because some of
Oh, there he
these
is.
have been talked about. So in our meeting group,
I know some of these blend into your goals of extending events, creating the outdoor facility, a Main Street area. If there's any I should add, or things I should take, let me know.
I mean, the only thing that we've never talked about is a motel or a hostel. But I mean, that was certainly something. Would that be a lodger's tax thing?
I would think so. You want people heads in beds kind of thing, right?
You want to leave it at hostel or do you want to wait? Can you hear me? Let's see.
Yes.
Yeah,
we
you're
can
on.
hear you.
Okay. Do you want to leave it at hostel or make it hotel or both / one / the other?
He has both of those on there.
Oh, he does. I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Well, he says seek a motel chain, and then the next one down, seek an
Oh.
establish a hostel.
Hmm.
It's up to you, Owen, of what you want me to keep on your board.
I think it's fine to leave them on there. I'd be curious to see if that's something people are interested.
Fair enough. Were there any other events or objectives? I know you guys have, and you want me to add any specific language on on website traffic or booking traffic or anything like that?
I don't know. I think that some of that bleeds more into the tourism department, and
Mhm.
he can probably give more. I mean, I think it's fine to kind of give some of these just kind of highlight points.
Okay. All right.
Does that part of the Lodgers Tech go to help us with workforce housing?
What was
I'm
that?
sorry. What was the question? I didn't catch all of it.
Does part of the Lodgers tax go to help workforce housing, fund workforce housing future?
No.
So the building permit fees that are generated for new construction, 40% of it goes to a workforce housing fund.
Okay.
I don't think there's a lodger's tax component that goes to workforce housing.
Yeah, per state statute, it has to go for a very defined number of things, and it has to all be related to tourism.
Are you thinking of maybe the Airbnb one-term short night rentals?
Yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm going to move on to another committee if that's fine.
Yep. Keep going.
All right, let's go to airport.
Okay. Any action items for that one for lodgers and tourism? That looks all right, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Greg Ralph has seen it too, right, Santos?
I'll send this to Greg, but this was all from the notes from a template we received.
Okay, good.
So I didn't get any real objectives from the airport. They're all real goals. And so this is how they were placed. And I talked to the chair of the airport committee. He's got these broken down between 5 and 10-year goals, and I just combined them. These are, I think, a lot of some of it is technical, but then some of it is like this one right here, annual air shows, engage the public for expos, which I think is happening this weekend too. The biggest one, obviously, is transfer ownership to the village. But these were all from their templates that they had sent originally to Marianne, and also from my conversation with him last week. He said, just use this. Okay, so I don't know what an approach aid ILS is. But this was on their list, and they did also have, I think, similar to Taos Air. How do you have just direct flights? It's a 31-seater from Dallas, Phoenix, Denver. So
it seems to me that one those are all objectives. Isn't the goal to have a well-functioning, efficient airport managed to whatever standard is required by the state or the county or FAA? And the rest of these things are all, besides transfer ownership, the rest of them are all part of how do you get to that goal of having a badass airport at 10,000 feet?
Yeah.
That could be the goal itself. Have the best airport at 8,500 feet. And that could be a simple. So a lot of these things lead to that big picture goal.
Agreed. World class versus badass. That's
Yeah.
I'll work on that.
Yeah, I mean, there may be something that we are aspiring to that's we're taking it over from the county, or maybe the county was aspiring to have some sort of what was their goal for managing the support? So what's our goal for managing, these pieces of having the military train there? Those are all pieces of that puzzle that we I think keep hearing about.
Yep.
I'll just coordinate with their chair. I think you're right. Something simple. It doesn't have to be 7 paragraphs.
Nope.
Just a real simple goal, because it bleeds into all these objectives.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
All right.
So Santos is going to touch base with airport chair to develop goal statement. Okay. Okay, guys, time check. We're going to be done in 30 minutes.
Going to Night Skies, formerly known as Dark Skies. So their mission statement, and they have they've got 4 sheets that I'm going to prepare for them to put on the table that just talks about the benefits of night sky and different things I think would be helpful on the table to have. Their objectives from codes affect the Bortle scale, host an astrotourism event. And I didn't realize that there is no recognized New Mexico community let's strive to be the first.
Hmm.
Okay.
So what's the goal?
They
don't have a goal
prepared they prepared this section.
That's not a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work with them similar to the airport. Come
Yeah,
up
the
with
goal
two
statement would be
sentence.
something. There should be something like enhance the night sky and angel fire to for stargazing or whatever it is, and these other pieces are there. I mean, reduce sky glow to restore angel fire's low border. So that's interesting, but I don't even know what that means. And I know international dikes, some of the dark sky stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second set of items there under dark skies are necessary for. Some of those could be built into the goal.
I'll work with Shelley and get two sentences.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to reduce light pollution by 15% in 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. But there's some bigger goals that could be there, and if the goal is to go after international designation, that could be a goal in itself, and then everything else falls into place under that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I talked to Shelley last week. I'll follow up with her today on getting a goal statement. But overall, the rest of the board looks fine.
Yeah, and same voting ideas on that, right? Dot voting, because
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
You may not get 6. You'll get 4 instead of
that
6.
could be that's a 1 or 2 right there. If you only got four objectives or how many they got, then it's really on the number of objectives there are.
Yeah.
That could be 2 or 2. If you only have 4 objectives, you vote for 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll scale it based on the number of objectives we've got.
Exactly. That's how it usually works.
Okay.
Sounds good. Fire adaptive.
Adaptated.
Yeah.
Just
I didn't get
letting you know.
I didn't get a spell check reminder, so I think it's good.
That's a new committee.
So their goals and their objectives were listed from their exercises on the templates. I think we started Attila talking about making sure this is engaged. I know that having someone from that committee to talk about what is the good neighbor policy. It's something you can't really write in 3 sentences. Somebody needs to explain it. What is a fire-wise community? Well, there's 14 different things I think on the evaluation sheet to get qualified.
Is Jake from State Farm going to be there talking about good neighbor policy?
No, I think you're going to have an officer from the fire adaptive committee. One, either secretary or vice chair, something like that.
So go up to the goal for a second, please.
Do you want to support the new ordinance? Or do they not have?
So the goal should be make an Angel Fire a fire resilient community, by whatever it is. And so these are all fire prevention, education. The ordinance are all strategies and objectives to making Angel Fire a more fire resilient community with an informed community, informed residents.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The goal is big. Those are objectives for a goal that says, create a fire-wise or a fire. It's probably more a fire.
What did you just say? Yeah.
And defensible space community or something along those lines, or fire. Firewise is just smart, but it's defensible space. It's fire resilient community. Maybe this is one we want, a fire resilient community.
Yeah. Or resilient. Okay.
I mean, it may still happen, but we've done everything we can with homeowners and thinning and education and ordinances and slash program and hauling. All those pieces are helping us be fire resilient. That's a good start.
Awesome.
Okay.
Workforce housing. So again, workforce housing, I'm going to print out two 11 by 17s of the site plans showing the units. That'll be on the table so folks can see that. I'm tempted, this progress to date, maybe putting that on a sheet as well. So the board kind of flows goals and objectives. I know there's a member of workforce housing in the
That'll
audience.
be fine.
Okay, so I'll just take this off. I'll put it with an exhibit that I'm using for your site plans, and then the objectives are trying to match what you guys have done and where you want to go.
Yeah, you could put complete phase one by the end of 2025.
Yeah, that's very good. Thanks for putting in the SMART goals. Time bound.
Another objective should be working with developers to increase affordable workforce housing.
There's some good planning terminology.
Yes.
What was the last part you said about housing, workforce housing?
Yeah, affordable.
How's that?
New affordable. Put in affordable. She said,
Yeah, provide affordable workforce housing.
So again, I'm going to have you go up to the goal for one more time. Look at it again.
There were 3 phases.
Russ, are you going to say something?
No, I'm sorry. I was trying to, another
Okay.
phone call was coming in. I was trying to get rid of it.
Oh, thanks. So yes, create a long-range housing plan to provide.
It's probably be long-term.
Yeah, long-term housing plan to provide sufficient
affordable and sufficient.
affordable housing for local workforce. And those phases are part of that. So this goal can have the big goal of long-term housing plan, and then the phases are kind of like the bullets underneath this goal. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay. So let me get everybody to vote on this. Give me just a second.
I like those phases.
Put Angel Fire workforce.
Yes.
There you go.
Take out workforce before housing.
Affordable housing for the our workforce. Yes.
Not the village, because that's too specific.
Angel Fire workforce.
Yes. There you go.
This is a little challenge because
Workforce.
Take out the first workforce that after affordable, then it's good.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
Yep. Beautiful.
And then take out these goals.
Oh,
No,
no,
those
no.
are kind of good bullets
They are
under
really
that goal. Those are okay.
They're
All
really good.
right. All right. So I'll leave those. And then the progress to date, I'll put on a separate sheet.
Yeah, we like the progress to date, though. That's really nice.
To me, I think that whoever's working the table, that's
Mhm.
going to be part of that conversation as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
anything on the objectives? Those look good. The objectives still look good.
I
Yeah.
think so. I think so,
Okay.
but
Mhm.
that's just me. I don't know.
All right. So moving right along. Roads and infrastructure. So this one is a little challenging because they just had a 2-hour road and infrastructure committee on
Did they?
Thursday.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so they went through a lot. So I think we'll
I
need to
thought
do
it
the
was
same
called
exercise.
Public Works now.
No,
Planning
that's
It's
right.
really it's really a challenge when you only had 3 people show and you didn't have a quorum. So they just
Mhm.
plugged through anyway, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is
Okay.
fine. So because you got to get something on the board, you got to get something moving.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think in this instance we'll have the same exercise. We've got what was listed on the goals, and then listening to their committee meeting. Um, these were things I saw on their punch list.
Have you compared this to the sheet I provided for
I
water,
did.
wastewater, and does it kind of tie in pretty well?
So there's two additional boards:
Okay.
watershed quality, and then public utilities. So
Yeah.
I tried to put road stuff on
Okay.
this board.
Perfect.
Now there is some overlap because there are
Yeah.
a lot of conversations on stormwater and its
Yep.
impact on the
Yep.
roads. So in those instances, like this one, create a plan for road improvements that coordinates with stormwater.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I tried to keep the other conversations separate.
Okay.
So I think on the goals.
Yeah, it's tricky. I had the same issue with the stormwater, trying to keep them not too much overlap. Mm-hmm.
Or maybe road management, because wouldn't safety and improvements kind of fall under management?
Okay.
Just
So
maybe just a comment. You just put a comment in there. Maybe think about that a little further.
create a road management plan. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, management plan for. Oh, there it is. Create a plan for creative management.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave it as is.
It's
Okay.
fine.
People understand that.
It doesn't. Yeah.
And that seems to capture some of this other stuff that's right below it.
Yeah.
A process for working with maintenance crews.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's an objective that a minimum of 5 miles to select annually to improve. Coordination with stormwater.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the design standards for gravel roads and their crowns, I didn't realize was an issue, especially if it's in a curve and you got a 3% slope, and then you have a 2% slope in the curve. So
Mm-hmm.
at any rate.
So where can you go up just a little bit? I'm just looking for the whole stormwater. Okay, you've got update village ordinance to provide coordination between encroachment permits and stormwater management. And there's the create plan for road improvements and coordination with stormwater improvements. Okay. It's just drainage. Is that kind of, I wonder if we should try to build in drainage into some of these terms.
Let's take a look at the last two boards before we do that. And
Okay.
if there's things that need to bleed over here, that's fine.
Okay.
Or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of your goals should be to explore and evaluate road technology development and road materials.
Hmm.
I like that.
Technology
Is it a
It
goal?
is.
advancements.
Or is it a goal
That's a
or an
strategy. It's a
objective?
strategy and a safe and improvement. So that's a strategy within that.
I would put
Goal.
it under objectives, wouldn't you?
Yeah, yeah, objective rather than strategy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Explore
Is this
innovation.
does this capture what you said?
Close enough.
Yeah.
So you want me to put this as an objective?
Yeah.
Explore and investigate, maybe.
So I'll put that as an objective.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
New technology.
And hopefully, I mean, more stuff's going to come out. I'm sure. So I will go to that table and say it'd be nice to see standardization in street signs
Mm.
throughout the village.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see fire evacuation route signage on village streets so our renters know how to get out of there if there is
I
an
think
emergency.
I think actually that should probably be in fire adaptive because that's one of the goals in a Firewise community
Mm-hmm.
is that there's in essence a marked evacuation
Yeah,
act,
you don't
right?
need to put it on
So
there.
We don't have to put it in. I mean, it should come out in the comments. If not, we'll put it in there.
Exactly.
We'll start drafting this plan. And I think there's already conversation about that among the fire chief.
I think you're right.
Oh,
Do you want me to put it on this
No.
or not? Okay.
No, just keep
All right.
moving.
All
We
right.
got notes that
Moving,
needs to
moving,
be
moving.
done.
Okay, so we've got everybody. All right, let's do watershed.
Okay.
So this one and the next one, public utilities, are formatted just a little different,
Yeah.
and that it's got issues and opportunities rather than a mission statement and
Yeah,
goals.
I followed the Attila's kind of outline.
Yeah, that was what we started with was issues and then goals.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. I think in this one, their stormwater management,
Mm-hmm.
just to see how it matches or doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
How do we integrate it with what we just saw on roads?
Okay. Yeah, I know. It's tough because it affects the watershed health. And so I wanted to put it under here, but I recognize that where you're going to deal with it the most is under the roads and infrastructure. But
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
But I think that's part of our task is to integrate where voices need to be integrated, right?
Agreed.
So to me, the value is making sure people can see it and hear it,
Mhm.
whether it's on streets board or it's on water quality board,
Mhm.
that we're not ignoring it. So Allison, I just took all of your objectives and put them on the board.
Okay.
So
I would love it if Kurt would take a look at it and say yay or nay, if these are, he just doesn't even want to see that on here, or I don't know, Brett, but is
Now,
Brett review?
let's leave them for now because they still get a say in this, how it comes together. So we can put stuff in there now. And
Mhm.
if we're voting on those, we can see where the community interest is. And that gives
Yeah.
us the
Okay.
argument to go to the village management and say, hey, these are really important to our community members.
Yeah.
and
didn't
to
you just
me,
receive
I think
a
there's
grant for the watershed?
Yeah.
I really think you need to put the grants that you've received at
Oh.
the top of the page. Angel Fire just was awarded a grant to
Mm-hmm.
deal with this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Just like our workforce housing committee, we got a grant to help with the funding.
Yeah. So it's not the Village Angel Fire did not secure the grant. It
Who
was
did
the
it?
Angel Fire Wetland Conservation Committee.
how much did you secure?
100. Well, it's really the whole thing is like 175, but the part that is coming directly to us is 100. So we match with the about 60 or 40%. But anyway,
What was it? So what did the money do?
So it's to help with the watershed health, with the health of the wetlands, and to help reduce the amount of erosion coming down into the wetlands.
Sediment
for
load
a-
mitigation and preventing the incising of Cienega Creek.
Right. There's a variety.
Sediment. What did you say, Attila? Sediment.
Load
It's sediment
mitigation. You
load
got it.
mitigation, but it's a sediment load coming in off Ski Hill Creek and everywhere else coming into the wetlands.
Right.
So
And
bank stabilization or bank hardening,
Yep.
the rock dams,
Yep.
and then within Cienega Creek itself, the creek is entrenched and incising, and therefore it's never going to have any sheet flow across it as a wetland. So
So we put
Beaver
in
Dam
these.
analogs are to raise the creek level back up.
Basically, it's the health of Cienega Creek and the
Yeah.
wetlands together.
Like the state secured $100,000 to help preserve the wetlands.
Yeah. But I mean, this, you keep going. It's fine. We're almost there.
I'll spell check Synergia.
It's Cienega.
Uh,
Uilla. But anyway, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So last board would be public utilities.
Okay.
So I did talk to Kurt.
Yeah.
That the challenge in the water supply is that we've got limited senior and junior water shares.
Yes.
The state engineer's office notified Angel Fire in 2024 that we had exceeded the allotment. However, in 2025, the state engineer's office said that we had saved 300 acre feet of water with just 1 years of improvements with the water meter upgrades, the bulk replacements, the leaks that we plugged. So there's still an issue that we still have limited water shares, right?
Yeah.
So I think the issue with the hydrants is ideally you want one every 500 feet and it's not uniform. We still have water loss in some of our tanks. Our water treatment facility is underutilized. It's not our wastewater mains are not located uniformly throughout the village. Large use of septics. The pit only covers some of the village, not all of it. I left your solid waste issues as is. I took your goals and objectives.
Okay.
Now, my question on these boards that go into board number 2, did you want me to add anything or revise anything or just leave it as text? I know on the trails board, took those maps off to really just leave it as text. Do you feel there's anything to change on this? Just, do you want me to try to consolidate some of this to get onto one sheet?
If you can.
Okay. I'll see what I can. If I can, I can. If I can't, I can't.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well done.
I mean, do we have too many goals and objectives there with that little table?
I don't think you do.
Okay.
To me, I don't know that you can have enough goals.
Okay.
Well, there's a goal for you've got a goal for adequate water supply for the village is a goal, and the objectives under that would be increase water supply and decrease losses. And then you've got a goal of efficient distribution of drinkable water, including line management and hydrants and those sort of things.
Yeah.
And the third one is goal would be gray water and black water management.
Yeah.
And septic management. So there's 3 goals, and then those objectives fit into there.
Okay.
All right, Attila, share with me what was goal 1.
So the first goal is secure sufficient water supply.
Yep.
For Angel Fire, and its growth patterns, whatever they are.
Yeah. Just a village of Angel Fire. Just that's good enough. Oh, well, and projected growth. That's good.
The second one is distribution of water.
Efficient. You said efficient.
Yeah, efficient
Or-
distribution
or-
of water. Yes, enhance the water distribution.
Yeah,
efficiency.
there you go.
Perfect. Those are kind of the big goals here, and then the third one is better use of our wastewater treatment plant.
No, I wouldn't put managed Grand Blackwater.
Well, increase the capacity of not capacity, increase.
Not capacity.
Well, we've got this thing is only 20%.
Right.
20% of
Usage.
the wastewater treatment plant is being
Right.
used. So how do we? The goal is to reduce septics and increase sewer line connections.
Yeah, that's wastewater treatment. Make sure it's
Right,
not just
whatever
water.
percentage, 10%, 15% in some period of time, which Kurt might have some goal he's been thinking about on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which feeds into the increasing the water supply, strangely enough, because we get credits for all of our effluent.
Does the last sentence sound fine?
It does. More new.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Maybe connections would be better than taps.
How about educate the public to prevent water waste?
That's definitely a objective.
Yeah.
That would support the enhancing the water supply, I think.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. And I think conservation plan is one of the things I had in there.
You
And
did. I
that's
saw
part-
that.
And that educating it should be part of a water conservation plan.
Yeah, there it is, number 4.
Okay. Yep. Best practices to the community. Mm-hmm. You don't need to put anything more in there.
No, I was gonna.
Oh.
Someone had just mentioned another education.
Educating the public to prevent water waste.
Well, that's part of the communicating best
The water.
practices.
That's the water conservation plan.
You can add it to that if you'd like. Communicate best practices or educate, I don't know, on the community on water usage.
Okay.
That's kind of what that's about. Let's see. Was there another major goal statement, Attila, that I missed about like our solid waste? I don't know that on solid waste. I just don't know what other things there are other than the recycling situation. And so many people bring it up. So
I think having it up for people to talk about is probably ideal. I know there's challenges with recycling
yes,
because not everybody accepts recycling. I mean, if the village accepted plastic, paper, aluminum, tin, the challenge is no one around us accepts those to process. They'll accept aluminum and tin and cardboard.
Yep.
And so then we're stuck with hordes of recycled materials that no one will accept. So
absolutely. We have to be reasonable.
But to me, I think it's important that folks, if folks feel that that's something they would like to see more, we should, that's why it's third from the bottom. To say, what should we do for recycling? Understanding the challenges we have. So.
And I think that I had put on here making sure that we have more options for recycling. Yeah, there it is. The it's kind of bumped up against the one before it, but it says provide recycling. What does that say? Bins. Oh yeah, for aluminum cans at village and resort facilities and events. And that's one that's missing that would have, give people more options. And you're at a big event, you've got all these tin cans. And they're all going to go in the trash. And it's so easy to collect those.
Okay, we're going into a rabbit hole here.
Yep.
But to me, ultimately, we leave it on the board, let people talk about it, vote on it.
Yep, leave
I
it.
think that's our goal. So
Let's move on.
those are all the boards.
Okay.
So they're on the bottom of the screen. I think we've gone through all of them and we've walked through all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna send the lodger's tax to Greg, the final sign off. I'm gonna work on the goal statement for the airport and Night Sky.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna coordinate with Greg on just the logistics for visuals. You know,
Mhm.
just do we need to bring up easel tripods or not?
So
And then I'm
can
going to coordinate with the architect and consensus planning on their final boards for Saturday.
okay. Can I ask a quick question? Who's attending from the village departments? Do you know if Kurt is going to be there?
I believe
He's-
I'm not
every
sure.
department.
Go ahead.
Oh, I know, Greg and Caroline and Brandon, those ones for sure.
Okay. I know.
But I know that every department head and staff meeting was told you will be there.
Okay.
So
Good to know.
yeah.
Kurt
All right,
is
so
always-
let's so the next item on this thing is table roles and responsibilities assignments. So are we sure we have a representative for each table? There's also the vision poster that we have that I gave. Did you do a vision poster, Santos?
Send it to me with your objectives for rec. And
Yeah, I just
Parks
did.
and Rec,
I just sent rec. Okay,
just to make sure that I've got it.
will do.
So I guess Attila, you're doing the vision, and then
I'm gonna
no
do
wait,
vision. Yeah, I'm gonna do the vision table.
and then Brett is going to do the welcome table.
No, I think that's going to be Keith, our police chief.
Huh?
Brad is out of town.
Oh, good grief.
So the acting manager is the police chief. So Keith
Okay.
Holgroff, I think, is going to take that spot. Oh, and just really quick, I wanted to show what you thought on
So he needs to direct people in a way that is going to give them an idea of what they need to do and what they expected of them. And I know
Yeah, that's what I put in my write up.
okay.
so
And
on the
I
screen
guess-
is
Mhm.
sorry, on the screen is what I did for the QR code so everybody can register for electronic notifications.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that from Shay last week.
Mm-hmm. So Attila, do you recommend that Chief Hogarth give some specific information to people and then send them your way before they go on to all the other little tables?
No, I think it's vision is after they've talked to a bunch of other people, they're gonna have that aha moment that says, "Oh, we should really be the outdoor recreation capital of
Mhm.
you know northern New Mexico, or we should
Mhm.
be
Mhm.
we
Hmm.
should be a certified workforce or affordable housing community for
Mhm.
addressing whatever people see in 10 years."
Well, maybe then if that's the case, that's the last table, that if you could stand up there with Chief Hovegraph and help direct people and give them some input as to what they need to do at each table. What do you
Well, so the way I did a cheat sheet on that, which I already shared with
I know.
Greg and Caroline, and I don't know if I got no response from them on it. So I don't know where it is or what's happening with it, but
Mhm.
we need the materials necessary. So every table is going to need large, like 5x7 Post-it notes with Sharpies, so they can write comments.
Mhm.
All comments have to be captured in writing, either by the participant or the tabler.
Mhm.
And then they're going to be responsible for putting those into a spreadsheet of some
Mhm.
sort. Because, part of the plan is if someone has a comment, we need to have a response. That committee's got to respond to that in the comp plan.
Mhm.
For the vision, what we'll do is we're going to create a word cloud on all the statements.
Mhm.
See what themes pop out as far as what a vision might look like, and that may be the committee chairs or us that comes up with a vision task of creating one and presenting it to council. So those, I did prepare a cheat sheet for all the committee chairs. I I'm not going to distribute that. Should come from the village, and Greg or Santos should share that to the committees. They're all invited to the meeting, so we have one of them here. Perpetual issue of what's happening is frustrating.
Mhm.
So
So Santos, where are you going to be?
Everywhere. So,
Um,
so the architect and consensus are going to be there as well to help with the Liberty Square conversations,
yeah,
and maybe even the Frank Young, which ideally I think the visitor center, or not the visitor, lodgers tax. I think there's going to be a synergy between Liberty Square and Parks and Rec. I think
mhm,
those visuals kind of blend together.
mhm.
Matt Billingsley. Matt will be there for Parks and Rec or Recreation and Trails.
Okay.
Okay. And I
Okay.
think having the architect and the landscape designers to help field any questions, but ultimately listen,
Mhm,
on what are the comments, what are people thinking about this layout.
mhm.
So
And then you're talking to all the committee chairs. Are they all committed to having a representative there?
yeah, I'll follow up with the committee chairs, but also with staff.
Okay. We need to have someone at each table knowledgeable about that topic.
Right.
I just
Okay.
really want people to get some sense of direction when they come into the room.
Right. So there's two parts of that. The other part is welcome and orientation before they leave the resort meeting.
Ah, yes.
Who's doing that? Because I heard it was going to either be Greg or Brett or
Yep.
BJ, the mayor.
Right.
I heard. Yeah, I'll coordinate with Greg if it's going to be him or the mayor.
Okay. So that person needs some talking points of what it's
Yes.
all about, why the comprehensive plan is important,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and what they're going to do when they get there, and how it's all set up. And we want their comments. The person at the welcome table reiterates that with the QR code here,
Mm-hmm.
and a small little push pin on the map, so we know where people are coming from, and ask them to go to as many tables as they feel comfortable going to, but at least interact with the staff there. It's their opportunity to share their concerns. Greg thought it might be a bitch fest, and so what if it is?
Mm-hmm.
A bitch fest is fine. We're going to hear from people. We need to collect that information.
Yeah. So
I think there's too much excitement going on with each one of these committees.
Mhm.
I don't think we're going to hear a lot of venting. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. That's just me.
Okay.
Well, I think people might still vent that. I know one person might vent who says, how much public money do we waste, taxpayer money waste on fixing roads that are washboard after one day? I've already seen the comments on Facebook on that. So
yeah.
it's likely to resurface a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Our job is not to engage that. It's just, okay, write your comment down. We're going to collect information,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Right.
committees can address it. So it should be clear that we're not there to solve any problems at this meeting, just to collect and hear from people. So all the committee chairs need to know that as well.
Yeah. Attila, do you have those talking points already kind of put together? I thought you might have. You
I had
provided.
talking points for what we shared with on that. I can try to get that done. I'm pretty slammed with stuff in Albuquerque this
I'm
week.
sorry.
But,
Well,
I'll see what I can work on that first thing in the morning, maybe with some talking points for whoever's doing the welcome.
Yeah.
And I have
I thought Bill was doing it.
Bill? Who? Oh, Humbert. Really?
Bill's still in the room.
Yes,
Bill, you've been quiet, so we were going to give you an assignment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding,
So I
Bill.
did share the comp plan table representative orientation form. I wrote that
Mm-hmm.
May 30th,
Mm-hmm.
and share that with the orientation table,
Mm-hmm.
and it had topic tables and had the visioning table exercise. So I can share that again with Santos with you, and then you can share with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can Bill put together some notes from that as to what he might say at the APCO meeting and then send it around with email?
I was kidding. I don't think it's Bill.
Oh, sorry.
I just want to make sure Bill was still there.
I'm here.
Okay.
All right, 5 minutes. We're going to wrap it up. I think we're going good here. What about outreach efforts? I haven't seen any social media posts about this. I just seen one thing on the village website or on the resort page.
Yeah, we need that big time.
Who's in charge of that?
I'll reach out to Mark Manley and also to Greg just to see what's been coordinating, since I think on the village side, I know every department head has been made aware of it. So it's been discussed at staff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll coordinate with Greg and Mark just to see how much.
We've got to get that out.
Well, and how much of a captive audience this is. So I'm going to talk to Greg about his board, and I'll ask him about that too.
I bring it up with people all the time, and they don't know about it.
Doesn't the village also have social media presence on Facebook or not?
They do, and we also got a nice video board now.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
Yes.
So
yes.
So it seems like we need to have the village post it. That is shared on all the other, private pages,
Mm-hmm.
the Better Post Office page, and God knows what else.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to me as the village has got to start this. So that's probably, I don't know if Shay's back at work yet or not, but that's probably a responsibility for her, since she's the webmaster apparently, to do that.
Mm-hmm.
About the importance of this.
Sure, Greg will have some input on that.
That can be forwarded around by everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
What about the chamber
Yep.
and AFPO?
I think this is the AFPO meeting that we're going to. So I think
they've shared it. I've seen it on their website or the resort site.
Yeah.
Well, I'll follow up with Greg because I think I'm not quite sure who manages the digital board, if it's Shay or him.
Greg does.
Greg does. Okay.
It's got too much good graphics on it to be Shay.
Well,
I think it's coming from Caroline or somebody else doing the graphics.
Well, to be honest, I think the technology package that comes with these signs now is just phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So, but I'll just ask Greg, knowing that AFPO is plugging it on their end, what we can get on the board and get into some discussions.
Yeah. Would love to see some posts on social media as well.
So
yeah, this is 4 days away or 5 days away, and we've got nothing out on it, which is kind of astounding to me.
I know.
So I'm just thinking out loud, just going over what we've discussed. Sticky notes 5x7 with pens.
Mm-hmm.
Post-it
note, the sticky notes.
Yeah, sticky notes, and then
sticky dots for voting.
Dots for 6 votes, or at most 6 per board. Mm-hmm. I'm going to confirm table representatives from committees and department heads. Mm-hmm. I'm going to coordinate with Greg on advertisement plus his board. I'm going to work with the airport and Night Skies on their goal statement. Mm-hmm. And then try to confirm who's transitioning from AFPO to the town hall. If it's Greg, it's Bear.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Right. Perfect.
Were there any other
I've already sent you objectives. I've already sent you objectives for Rec and Trails. I'm going to send you the template for the tabling and the visioning thing. I got to send you visioning as well.
Okay. I'm going to try to get all this updated tonight.
Okay.
So I can send out to get mounted tomorrow, no later than Wednesday. The boards that I shared with you on Liberty Square, there are a few elements with respect to the stage and perspectives from the building that are still being worked out. I need to coordinate with the architects if they're integrating it into the big board or they're going to do smaller sheets for detail. So I'm going to manage that side. And then I'm going to be in Angel Fire on Wednesday as well. Mm-hmm. But so I want to try to coordinate all I can before I come up on Wednesday.
Okay. Perfect.
Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
So I'm pretty sure I shared with you the visioning exercise that comes out of a lot of the different the planning sites that just imagine 20 years from now, a headline.
Mhm.
So I think I shared that exercise with the group of what we were proposing, or it's in the tabling points too. So the vision, I think it's just that board says, imagine a headline from Angel Fire 20 years from now. Write
Yes,
it
I
down.
did
So it
see
could
that.
be, the New Mexico State Cross Country Championships took place in Angel Fire for the 5th year in a row. Or, we've attracted skateboarders. Tony Hawk has now declared Angel Fire the best skateboard town in the world. So whatever the headline is to get people thinking about what could be, and that's what we're after. I think I did share that with the group.
You did.
Okay. So we just need a headline up there with an example, and the rest of it's all going to be sticky note based.
Okay.
I sense a lot of color.
Yes, it's going to be bright and colory.
Bill, is there anything you feel we missed?
Good. You've done a lot of work.
Yep.
Oh, and lastly, I am working with Ileana to get by Wednesday the templates from all the sections that we have on our comp plan, so we can give a comp plan update next Tuesday to the council. It'll be a committee report.
Oh, wow.
And so a lot of it is what you just saw on the boards, right?
Okay.
Goals, objectives. There are some committees like public health. There's some chapters like public health, fire, police. We've gotten their template back, their data back too. So I'm preparing all of that. Ileana needs it by 5 o'clock on Wednesday. So that next Tuesday, there's a verbal update to give to the council, understanding that we're still digesting whatever we get on Saturday.
Okay.
So another piece of equipment is every table needs at least 2 easel stands to put the posters on.
And that's what I want to get from Greg. How many does the resort have, if any? So I can table times 2, right?
Well, I think, and it could be as simple as, buying a bunch of furring strips and putting a screw through the top, and then some rope and one across the bottom and taping the board to the back of it or something. So that would be too high tech. And I shared that idea with Greg over a month ago, and I haven't heard what he's got. So
I'm looking to get these mounted on foam board. So what we can leave at Village Hall, kind of like the first iteration of Liberty Squares up on the wall, right?
Agreed, but I think we want to display them, not laying down on a table. They got to be up on the easel so people can read them easily and put their sticky notes on it. So
that's
part of
correct.
the sticky note is everyone needs to see other ideas, because that generates more conversation.
I agree. That's why I want to put it on. That's why I want
That's
to put
so
it on a foam board. I want to put it on a foam board so it's got some sturdiness to it, and it's higher and visible. So.
Yep. Okay.
Did we miss anything on the agenda?
No. I don't think so, but I don't have it in front of me.
No, that's all. That's the agenda, covers everything we had on there. So we wrap up. We just reviewed all the action items.
Yep.
The biggest things that are, I think, red flags and concerning is we haven't identified any table reps, and we're sorely lacking in outreach efforts to date.
Yep.
Okay. I know the airport. I know the airport has a thing going on at the same time.
Yep.
But I remember Brandon saying he would cover the airport.
Okay.
So
Right.
I'll circle back. I'll circle back on table assignments and putting my notes together as well.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Sounds
So
great.
what time are we arriving on? What time is set up for all this for us?
I hope to be there before 10 o'clock just to make sure the room. I don't think we're on until 1:30. But I want to.
We were done by 1:30.
No, AFPO's done by 1:30. We're right after their lunch.
Okay.
The meeting's from 11 to 12.
Yes. So we go on right after they eat. So I want to be there between 9:30 and 10 to make sure we've got at least everything handled with enough time to handle.
So my understanding from Greg was he thought people would come in while they were eating or in and out during their lunchtime as well.
I think that's fair. That's why I want to get there before 10
So
to give enough time.
We should be ready to go at noon.
Yes.
That means table representatives are there at noon to, I think it's supposed to conclude at 1:30 is what I thought. So table representatives, welcome table, vision table, and floaters all need to be ready to go at noon. Once the official meeting is over, because whoever does the welcome is like, okay, if you're waiting for lunch, come on over, or eat in here. We'll have napkins for you to drip food everywhere, whatever. But I think we want to get people in there as quick as possible. If it starts later at 1:30, we're going to lose half the audience.
Yeah.
So just a thought. All right. I'm good.
Owen, Russ, did we miss anything?
I guess not.
I think,
No.
I think y'all covered a lot and everything. So I had it in my calendar 11:30 to 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think
That's-
if there's representatives that, like, I'll be at the AFPO meeting, but I'll just go right after the AFPO meeting to the table. And you'll
Sounds
get
good.
people that'll, wander over there before they go get something to eat. And then
Mm-hmm.
hopefully people will come over after they get something to eat.
Who's going to bring lunch for us? All right. Looking forward to it. Hope it's gonna rock and roll. We're gonna get some good input for us.
Let's hope.
So we should also capture some photos of the event so we can show we did serious civic engagement, including the table people should probably get a picture of every one of their boards before they wrap it up. So we have
That's a good
digital
point.
record as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the clean before and the marked up after. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for your help
Thanks.
and your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, Santos. Good work. Thanks, Owen.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.